Right.
Buenos dias.
I'm Michael from Metalphetamine, Fede, and
Sean.
Hi, Sean. You all right?
Hey, man.
Hello, everyone.
Yeah.
Hi, how's it going, Christopher?
Not too bad. Not too bad. Getting through it, as we say.
getting through it. Oh, right. I heard like COK is like kind of cut off now, right?
Oh, it's yeah. Nobody wants us, and we're not letting anybody leave. And everybody's shopping for many Christmas turkeys. The supermarkets are like war zones at the moment. So, so you have to get your shopping trolley and treat it like a tank. You know.
So you have a
Are people stocking up on toilet paper? Because that's what happened in Australia. We were locked down as well for like a long time, and no one's allowed in. And for some reason, people were stocking up on toilet paper. Is that the same thing happening over there?
Yeah, toilet paper, pasta, rice, and obviously Christmas sprouts. Everybody wants Brussels sprouts.
Interesting.
Yeah,
Interesting
it's
choice.
very, very crazy.
Yeah, crazy year. So we listened basically all morning to Absolva, to your music, and it's quite awesome. Like, we are quite impressed. Like, I just discovered it now to the interview, and wow, like, how long do you exist now? Since when do you exist?
2012, I think, was the first album, and we originally got together. And before Absolva, we were in a band called Fury UK, which is myself, the drummer Martin, and my brother Luke, who was on bass back then. And that band kind of split up or hiatus because we did a European tour supporting Iced Earth. And at the end of that tour, their bass player left and they wanted my brother Luke to play bass. So he kind of joined Iced Earth. But we didn't really want to carry on with that band without my brother. So we created Absolva, fresh start, opportunity to kind of like learn from mistakes that we'd done with our previous band and inject it into this. But then as time went on and Iced Earth were not that busy, Luke ended up joining Absolva anyway. And but this time on lead guitar, because we didn't want to sack the bass player and just say, "Oh, sorry, Luke's come back." And
yeah, right, of course.
And it was a good opportunity to, I really wanted to, do a lot of my dual guitars. So, I love Judas Priest and Thin Lizzy. So really wanted this dual guitar attack. And when it's two brothers, when we're kind of interlocked with our brains with the playing, it's really cool.
Yeah, that's actually the first thing I noticed, like the strong heavy riffs, the really powerful riffs. I really love that. It really makes a difference, especially in power metal and heavy metal and this kind. The riffs are the most important thing for me personally, at least, in that kind.
Yeah, big riffs, big leads, big melodies, and almost overdoing it on the guitar. If we overdo it and it feels like we're doing it too much, then it's just enough.
Right, great strategy. Who does the songwriting actually in the band?
In the early days, the first few albums, it was all myself. And then when Luke came back into the unit, it's mainly me and myself and him. And we do a lot of writing together. We do a lot of songs where we might write them on our own and then we do the arrangements together. So it's mainly the Appleton brothers.
Yeah.
And have you guys written together like all your life when you were teenagers learning and getting into music? Were you writing together even at that early stage? Or was this something that came later on? Yeah,
pretty much. We've always written together. But we've learned so much over the past sort of, even 8 years. Luke's done, I think, three albums, including the live albums with Iced Earth. So working with John Schaefer, he learned a lot of production tips, writing tips. And then myself working with Blaze Bayley, I kind of picked up a lot of stuff that he picked off Steve Harris. So we kind of mixed that all together with our own methods and you know, blend the Iron Maiden and Iced Earth elements in there as well.
But it sounds like it's working.
Yeah, it's you know, you're never too old to learn new tricks.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, true.
Well, but those guys are really masters of that. So you need to learn.
Well, that's it. The John Schaefer in Iced Earth, he's got a very particular way of writing. And I mean, my brother Luke, before he joined Iced Earth was his favorite band. You know, he had posters on his wall, he had all the t-shirts, and he joined that band when he was 17. You know, he got that job and it was just a dream job. And I think he did his first show just a few days after his 18th birthday.
That's a dream.
Dream come true.
You know,
in
our previous band, when we were touring, because there's 6 years difference between myself and Luke. And when we were touring in our previous band, Fury UK, I think, you know, we were doing our first gigs, opening up for Saxon, Y&T, Michael Schenker, and Luke was only 14, 15 years old. And then once we got the opportunity to open up for Iced Earth on the European tour, on the Dystopia tour, I think he was still 17 then. And then at the end of that tour, they go, "Hey, Luke, Freddie, our bass player, is leaving. With no audition, we'd like you to join the band." So it's like, whoa! It was a big thing.
How to say no?
Well, yeah, it's he came to me and says, "Oh, what do you think I should do?" And I said, "Well, do you think I can say no to you?"
Right, impossible. 17 and on tour. How did that go?
Well, it was very interesting when he was like 15, 16, and I think we got a tour opportunity to open up for Y&T, and it was around like examination time. So we had to call the headmaster at school and say, "We know it's examination time, but is there any way we can go and take Luke and do this tour and maybe do the examinations at a different time?" So luckily our headmaster, he was very understanding. He was a big Led Zeppelin fan. So he's like, "Oh yeah, you've got to be on the road. We'll find another time for these examinations."
Awesome.
Very cool.
Oh, awesome time with that guy, you know.
Yeah, we've had it feels like, even though I don't think we're that old, you know, it feels like we've squeezed a lot in, you know, just a few years. You know, it's 10, 15 years where we've been solid touring until this year, obviously.
Yeah.
And, you know, we've done a lot of albums, you know, with Absolva. I think we're now on our 5th studio album, 2 live albums, and we released lots of things in between, with me working with Blaze Bayley, with him working with Iced Earth. So it feels like we've achieved a lot.
Well, it sounds like too. It's quite awesome. Do you miss touring actually this year?
Oh, so much. It's, you know, because you never really, well, for me anyway, you never really write a new album and then that's it. You go home and, you know, you try and sell the album. You write the album to take it on tour, to play those songs live. You know, it's never the other way around. It's always, how's this song going to sound on stage? And how, you know, are people going to be singing this song? And they think, oh, where's a good section where we can get people, you know, shouting, chanting. So all the songs are written to be played live. So having to stay at home and not be on tour is really, really bad.
Because that came, Sidebyside came out in April, yeah. So that was kind of like 1 month into the whole global pandemic thing. So you haven't had a chance, obviously, to play it yet. Do you have any idea when that would be, when you'd be able to play the material from that album live?
Not a clue, really.
Yeah.
I mean, at the moment, I've spent all year moving show dates and moving tours, and some shows I've moved maybe 4 or 5 times, you know, because March, April, we moved the tour dates to the winter 2020, and obviously that didn't happen because the pandemic kept going. Then I moved things to the beginning of 2021, and then everything just keeps getting moved. And I, as much as I want to get back on stage, I don't want to put anybody's safety at risk, you know, the band and the people, the fans, because I just don't think I could deal with that on my conscience if someone came to an Absolva show and they left with COVID-19. You know, that's just not something I really want to deal with in my head. But I just want to get back out as soon as possible when it's safe.
Yep, fair enough.
You guys started with the vaccines already, right? The first people received it.
Yeah, my grandfather actually had his vaccination last week. He's 95 years old, and 95, but I think he still thinks he's 21 years old.
So he rocks.
Yeah. Oh, he's a cheeky monkey, is my grandfather. But they called him up. He said, "Okay, Mr. Appleton, you have your vaccination on Wednesday." I was like, "Right, okay." And you have to go to this clinic. You might have to wear a loose shirt because you might have to take your shirt off because they have to put it in the muscle, not into the general arm. So like the old needles. So then he takes his coat off. And he's already cut his sleeves off, so he doesn't have to take his shirt off. So both sleeves, and I'm like, oh, so this is like a proper heavy metal costume. You've got a sleeveless shirt.
Right. Does he listen to your music, actually? What does he say about your music?
Oh, he likes the music. He likes it when we do our acoustic stuff a little bit more than the metal, but he does enjoy it. He's very, very proud of us, and he still comes to the concerts. You know, at 95, if we're doing an indoor festival somewhere where he can sit down, he'll come to the festivals. But he's full of energy.
That's awesome.
How's the idea of your SOS festival?
That was my mother. My mother set that up. It's a very musical family.
Yeah.
I think it was about 12 years ago, and it's in Manchester. And SOS Festival is schools out for summer, and she originally set it up just as a one-day event. And because my mother's very family orientated and she was getting really sick of concerts and festivals only being 18 plus or 16 plus. So she really wanted to do a family festival where people can take the children, and even if they have young children. So she made Schools Out for Summer Festival, SOS, as an all-age event, and made sure some of the bands didn't swear on stage or anything. And then there's a little play area for the kids, you know, for very young kids. But we get people traveling from all over Europe, and they'll bring the families, you know. So it's a really cool thing, and especially if you've got like a 10, 12-year-old son who's really getting into heavy metal. Some concerts he cannot go to because of it's a pub or a bar and it's age 18 or over. So she made this festival and it just really took off. There was lots of people saying, why hasn't somebody done this before? All age event, making it very safe for everybody. And we've had some great bands over the years, and it just grew and grew. And we made sure it was indoors because the British weather is very unpredictable. So nobody has to roll around or camp in the mud, you know. And and then we expanded it to 3 days. So it's Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And well, we've done the festival, Absolva and Blaze, and we've had bands like Gun, Massive Wagons. You know, we've had some good headliners. One year we had a band called ex-UFO, which was all different members of UFO from over the years, and all ex-members of UFO, and kind of made their own UFO. Yeah, so it's been a good little journey, and but yeah, the root of it all was my mother. It was her idea, and she's still very heavily involved.
It's such a great idea. So you said that you come from a musical family. Was your dad a musician as well?
Yeah, he's very much involved with the whole business and everything. He's a guitar player, and he was in like college bands, and he was in various like blues rock covers bands as well. And he's very much involved with the business. He's Blaze's manager. So he works with Blaze very closely. And yeah, he's kind of built it all with us. So, you know, we're all like business partners with everything. And we set up our own record label so we could release our own albums. So he's very good at the business, the background stuff that nobody sees, you know, working with the numbers, working with the accountants and the papers. He's very good with that stuff. Whereas we're very good with the other stuff, with talking to people and seeing people and playing. It's good. It's nice having a musical family. It's sometimes a bit noisy, but
so I guess you and your brother never really had any other choice but to be musicians. I mean, surrounded by all that, and it's a good thing. It's a good thing.
I mean, it kind of happened with me first because I was the older brother. So I decided I wanted to play guitar and get into it, and then nothing was ever forced on us. It was just around us, so it kind of just happened naturally. You know, I don't think I would have been a very good football player, and then as Luke got older, and through my experience when I was a teenager, it was always hard to find bass players. So I kind of said to Luke, says, yeah, you know, I'm playing guitar. Says, if you're thinking about taking up an instrument, says, you know, that bass guitar is a really good instrument, you know, kind of planning in my head.
Yeah, plant the seed.
Right. Yeah, I always asked it, like, how do people actually get into metal? You know, it's always a story involved usually into that. What was your first contact with metal? How it comes?
Well, it's a weird one, really. I mean, my early sort of love for music always came from a big Gary Moore fan, you know, all the bluesy guitar players. So Gary Moore, Thin Lizzy, Peter Green, and then I think I remember the moment. I think I was 9 years old, and I heard AC/DC for the first time, and it was the Highway to Hell album.
Okay,
and just instantly I remember going, what the hell is this voice? You know, what is this? Is this a girl? Is this a guy? What I've never heard anything like that before. And it's like, oh, this is Bon Scott. My dad says this is AC/DC, and I'm like, this is just unreal. This is brilliant. And then I do remember just being an absolute AC/DC fanatic. You know, I was pretty obsessed, you know, to the point where I wanted a Gibson SG like Angus.
Do you have one?
Huh?
Do you have one?
Yeah, I have a few. But, you know, I had AC/DC posters all over my wall. All my schoolwork, all my books had AC/DC doodles on it. It was a big part of my life, you know. And if somebody said they didn't like AC/DC, I was like, what are you talking about? How can you not like AC/DC? And then, and as it kind of got in, you know, I discovered Black Sabbath, discovered Iron Maiden, and the kind of heavy influence came kind of much later, really. And when I was watching, we had in the UK on VH1 on TV, Tommy Vance Friday Night Rock Show, and it was midnight till 2 a.m. every Friday. And he used to do interviews. He used to have all the new music videos, and that was kind of where I picked up a lot of, new music. That was the first time I saw Blaze. I think Blaze had an interview on the Tommy Vance show, and they did Future Real, the Iron Maiden song on the Iron Maiden video. So that's where I kind of discovered a bit more the thrash metal and the heavy metal and Judas Priest and everything. But yeah, I do remember always after, what time is it? Oh yeah, I've got to stay up late tonight because it's a midnight till 2 a.m. Friday night rock show.
Oh yeah,
and put the VHS in so I could record the whole show and then watch it back the next day if I fell asleep.
Yeah,
That's
it seems
really
like
fun, actually.
it was a different world back then. Like I remember, like in Australia, we had the 3 hours of power on Friday night, and it was only 3 hours of the week dedicated to metal. It's not like now where you can get access to all kinds of music, metal on tap 24 hours. Back then, you really had to like schedule it and like stay up late or record it. So it's interesting how it's changed now. But you mentioned AC/DC. Was it at that same time that you wanted to be a guitar player and a singer, or did the singing come after?
Oh. Oh, you still there?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is it just my internet then?
It's just you. I guess.
I thought it was me. No, okay.
Yeah, it's the singing came much later. I always wanted to be a guitar player, and in my early bands, and because I put most of my bands from high school together, and trying to bully people. It's like, okay, I think you'd be a really good drummer, or you'd be a really good singer. And we did a couple of school concerts, and we're just trying to keep things as basic as possible and play like All Along the Watchtower, Jimi Hendrix, or something like this, just 3 notes. And then all the singers we ever had were really bad. There was never any good singers. And when eventually, I started to move the band outside school because I wanted to play pubs and clubs and band competitions, I just kept on doing the singing in rehearsals. And then whenever we had an audition, the other guys that have in the band, would always say, "Oh, well, he's good, but I still think you're a better singer, Chris." So what's the point in getting a singer who's not better than the guitar player? Surely we need a singer that's much better. And I was nowhere near a good singer back then. I had to work on my vocals so much. And it just came in time. I think, my first album that I really thought, yeah, I'm really starting to sound like a singer now, was probably the first Absolva album, where I felt fully comfortable with my voice and what I could do with it. And I've never had vocal lessons or anything. I've just kind of found my voice, if you will. I've got quite an unusual voice. It's quite gravelly, like Lemmy, but then I'm always trying to sing as high as Bruce Dickinson. So it's kind of a combination. And but yeah, I'm kind of thankful I found something.
I've been listening to I've been listening to Side by Side all this morning, and I really love just the vocals. And I'm just thinking like it's quite unique to have a lead guitar player also be the lead vocalist. I mean, that's a cool combination of being the singer and also the lead guitarist. But you mentioned your brother plays he's also a lead guitarist. You do those cool dual guitar bits, which is a harmonized guitar is one of the best sounds to my ears. I love that harmonizing. It's amazing. No, it sounds really good, man.
Oh, thank you very much.
Yeah, no worries.
So Fury UK were like preparing Absolva music, because then you start to feel very safe, you know, with your voice and your guitar playing.
Yeah, I mean, Fury UK was kind of, it kind of all just kind of evolved from my very first bands from school and everything. And we had a couple of different lineup changes, but we found Martin, the drummer, and he, you know, I found him at a jam session in a really rough pub on the edge of Manchester, and he was the in-house drummer. And what I loved about him is he'd get up with some old guys doing Jimi Hendrix and Cream and some soul funky stuff, and then the next minute, two young, you know, lads would get up, and then suddenly he's playing Slipknot and System of a Down. It was very, you know, he was a good jammer. You know, he didn't have to know a song, but he'd just listen to the riff and then he'd just be able to play it. So he's got a very good experience. And then when Luke was old enough, I think 14, and then we kind of settled on a core lineup of Fury UK. And we just tried to get as many gigs as we possibly could. It's very difficult to get, you know, support slots for bigger bands, and it was probably more difficult back then in Manchester because we had, you know, it was the whole city is, you know, kind of focused around the Stone Roses and Oasis and that kind of thing. So when we were trying to get concerts and gigs, you had to do this thing by buy 50 tickets up front if you wanted to play a concert, and then you had to sell those tickets, and then once you've sold all those tickets, you could keep 50 pence of each ticket that you've just sold. And then you play a concert with a load of bands that sound like Oasis, and you're trying to sound like Iron Maiden.
Who's Oasis again? Never heard about them. Ingested comes from Manchester. Ingested comes from Manchester. So that's like more important to me, I think.
Well, I think our first kind of break with Fury UK was we just decided to do everything ourselves because nobody would sign us. There's no record label interested in us, and nobody would book us for a festival because we didn't have a record label. So we said, okay, we want to play this festival, so we need to get a record deal. Nobody would give us a record deal. And then we thought, okay, let's make our own record label and release it ourselves, and we'll come up with a name, and we called the record label Rock Sector. So then we go to the festival. Okay, we've got a record deal now. Oh, no, you're still not good enough to play this festival. So then that's another idea that my mum came up with. It says, okay, let's make our own festival then. You know, it was all a big circle. And, you know, our first big break, we got some nice support slots opening up for Blaze Bayley. We did a very good concert opening up for Diamond Head when we were very young in Newcastle, which really opened up a lot of doors for us in the early days. And I don't know if you remember the band Breed 77, and they did a cover of what's the bloody song called now? Zombie. And they were very big in the UK at that time, and we did a festival with that. And then I saw that Michael Schenker was touring the UK, and I literally remember the day I opened this magazine and I saw, December, whatever year it was, Michael Schenker UK tour. And I went on Michael Schenker's website, I picked up my phone and I phoned the booking agent and I said, right, I want this tour support, Fury UK, blah, 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 blah. And she goes, okay. And that was it. And I thought, I've been struggling for so long trying to get gigs, and if I knew, all I had to do was find a telephone number and pick up the phone, then I would have done it ages ago. And then from that, everything kind of span, much faster for us. There was a guy at the Michael Schenker shows who was a crew member for Y&T. And he recommended us to the guys from Y&T, and they emailed us and invited us to open up for Y&T in the UK. And then from the Y&T, they were involved with some of the guys from Saxon, and they invited us to do like a Saxon fan club concert. Then they recommended us to open up for Saxon on the Saxon tour. And then the same agent and the same promoters that work with Saxon, I think at the time were German, the guy from Wacken, and the guys who managed Saxon were on the same agent as Iced Earth. And that kind of brought us all the way around. And then they stole my brother, and then it stopped.
Stole your brother. Quite some history. How you see the music business from all sides in your family? How is it? How do you see the music business? It's like tiresome. It's a good business. How does it feel?
Well, I think we've had to adapt a hell of a lot. The internet I love and I hate at the same time. It's very difficult. Many people ask me, say, "Oh, how is the music business for you? Do you struggle?" And I think everybody has to adapt. There's nothing going to take away the internet. The internet's not going to explode tomorrow, and that's it. So, and I think the lucky thing is the fans that we have, the small community that we have across the world, that kind of facilitates us, and they want the CD, they want the vinyl, they never really download it from a bad website, and I try and make things as genuine and direct for the fans as I possibly can. I might make sure I always sign something for them if they pre-order an album. So I think that side of the music business is kind of good. I kind of try not to look at what's going on around me. I try and look after my little bubble. And we constantly make new friends. Even this year, with no concerts, we've found new fans. And every week there'll be somebody who doesn't just order the new CD or the new vinyl. There'll be somebody every week that will buy the whole thing. They'll buy all the albums, all the DVDs, all the vinyls, and they'll send a little message that says, "We've just discovered Absolva. We've never heard of you before. Sorry."
Sorry. Yeah, just as me today. Like, it's really awesome.
You know what, Chris? I really want to see Absolva band alive. Because I knew you when you came with Blaze Bayley. So here in Argentina. But Absolva have ever played outside of Europe?
Well, this was the very lucky thing. In January, February, we managed to get a little bit of touring in before COVID-19. Yeah. So with Blaze, over the past couple of years, we've been doing the 25th anniversary Iron Maiden shows. So I think it's 25 years since Blaze was singing on the X Factor album. Yeah. And for those shows, normally when we play with Blaze, it's just one guitar. But we said for the Iron Maiden anniversary shows, we'll bring Luke in. So it's two guitar, it's more authentic for the Iron Maiden sound. So we had this tour planned originally for January 2020 for South America. And we were going to do a tour very similar to the one when we came the previous year and played Argentina. But then there was a huge problem with the agent, and he had lots of issues. And I think there was some trouble in Chile around that time as well. So we couldn't.
Yeah.
So
they start to have problems, I think, in October of last year. Yeah,
that's right. Yeah. So he thought it was probably safer not to go to Chile, but then there was a huge gap in the tour schedule because I think we usually do 4 or 5 shows in Chile. So then the tour ended up just being Brazil. And we did 2 weeks of Brazil. And then I looked at the schedule and I said, hey, we're going out to Brazil to do these 25th anniversary Iron Maiden shows. We're taking Luke with us for the 2 guitars. Why don't we be our own support band? So we said to the agent and the promoters, it says, would it be cool with you if we can do 45 minutes to 60 minutes Absolva set, and then like 10 minutes break? It's really good for your sound engineers and your stage managers because no amps or drums
it's all set up. Yeah.
And then Blaze comes on, and then everything's exactly the same. Nothing moves. And everybody went, that's a really good idea.
It's good for you to play like 3 hours? It's okay for you?
Yeah, it's no problem for me because I don't have to sing, you know, on the Blaze set, so I can have a nice rest and just play my guitar. So yeah, and we did some fantastic shows on that Brazilian tour, and there's a few other festivals in Europe where we've done the same thing. And we said to the promoter, 40 minutes Absolva, and then an hour, 90 minutes, 2 hours, whatever you want. And they say, oh yeah, that's great, because it gives chance for our stage managers and our sound engineers to go for something to eat, because they don't have to move any amplifiers.
It's a good business for everyone.
Yeah, it's great.
Well,
that was our first time.
Oh yeah?
Sorry?
I want that here, man.
Well, I think that would be a really good idea. We do another anniversary Iron Maiden show. We'll just extend it because it will probably be 26, 27 year anniversary by then.
Like that. Yeah, it's okay.
And but I would really like to go back to Brazil, come and see you guys in Argentina, go to Chile because I've really enjoyed those shows. And then hopefully we got a new contact in Mexico, and we just do a full Latin America tour with Blaze and Absolva together. And it's, yeah, we had such a great time in Brazil, and we made so many brand new fans from that tour. You know, there's a lot of people in Europe that have like heard us, might have heard the name or whatever. There's very familiar, whereas we went to Brazil, nobody had heard of Absolva before, and so it was really, really good because it's been a long time since I've done a show where I'm playing to a lot of people that have never heard one song, never heard of the band. So it kind of was like pressing the rewind button going to Brazil with Absolva, because it was almost like starting again as a new band, going to a country where you've never performed before. So it was, I did feel like a little kid on that tour.
Do you have time to discover a country when you are on tour, or you are just really music on the move?
It all depends, and we're all very different people in the band, you know, and you know, some of us like to sleep, some of us like to have a few beers after the show, some of us like to spend many hours calling our girlfriends, others, you know, like to take photos of the mountains, or they just like to sleep in the van and miss it all. But yeah, I'm kind of in the middle, you know. I like to discover. I don't know if you've heard the website, the Heavy Metal Travel Guide. And it has a global directory of worldwide heavy metal pubs and bars.
Awesome.
So wherever I go in the world, I go type into the Metal Travel Guide what country and what city I'm in, and try and work out what's the closest heavy metal bar and sometimes it's worked good, sometimes it's not worked good because the place is closed or something. But I have discovered some really cool rock pubs in places that you really wouldn't expect when we've had like an off day. So that's kind of the thing I like to do with my time off. And the best one was we were touring Czech Republic doing one of our DVDs, and we were in an Ibis Red hotel, and we had 3 days off before the DVD to prepare and whatever. And I put in Heavy Metal Travel Guide, Prague, Czech Republic, heavy metal pub, Hell's Bells Rock Pub, 3 minutes walking.
Perfect.
Meant to be.
And then it was my first time in Czech Republic. I'd never been there before, about 10 years ago or something. And I go to a cash machine to get some local currency, the Czech crowns. So I thought, get £20 worth of Czech money. Go downstairs into this pub, Hell's Bells Rocking Pub, and it was really cool memorabilia all on the walls, and it was like a cave. And if you've seen the Anvil, have you seen the Anvil movie? Documentary. It's the same place where Lips, the singer from Anvil, grabs this guy because the promoter didn't pay him. And I was like, oh God, this is where it happened.
It's real.
And I
Historic place.
Yeah, I go to the bar, and I've got all this Czech crowns. I didn't know how much a pint of beer would cost. And then I pay the guy, and I go, oh, this pint of beer has just cost me 70 pence. It's like, I could get really pissed with £20 worth of Czech crowns here. And I went there every night. Every night on that week, I just kept going back, meeting new friends. It was my favorite time on that tour.
Nice. Have you been to Budapest?
Yeah, we've been to. It's a long time ago now, actually. We played there twice, once with Iced Earth and once with Blaze, and it was a kind of funny venue. I'm not sure if it's there anymore, but I remember being there with Iced Earth, and we arrived at the venue, and it was the American Thanksgiving Day. And then we walked in, and then the whole theme of this venue was it was like a cowboys and Indians kind of thing. So there's all these bloody Indians and all these Americans walking in with their amps, going, oh, this is not really a good place for Thanksgiving.
Crazy.
Was it like multiple rooms, like in one big venue?
Yeah, it was like one. It felt like you were in like a cowboy sort of warehouse type thing, but with a big stage at the bottom, all nice wooden venues, and I can't remember what the
was it. Durokurt, Michael? Do you reckon it was?
No. I think it was A2. It was like lots of wooden windows on the sides and
very familiar.
Yes, yeah. Yeah, it closed. Cool. I think it closed for 2 years now. It was an interesting place, yeah.
Yeah. Nice food.
Yeah,
all over Hungary. Did you ever play on a hangover, actually? Talking about bars and drinking.
I usually am pretty sensible. All of us, we never drink alcohol before going on stage. We're always sober when we're performing the concert. And then we have this rule, like on the road constantly, we say hangover is not an illness. It is, so nobody is allowed to feel sorry for somebody who has a hangover because you've done it to yourself.
Yeah.
So we don't give any sympathy to anybody with a hangover. And usually I like a couple of beers after the show. And then if we've got a show the next day, then I'll be sensible. But as soon as I know that I have a day off the next day, then things get a bit more interesting. Yeah.
Chris, I remember you played here one concert acoustic and the other one full metal, and it's really different for you because the atmosphere were awesome here. The acoustic, it was like a pleasure for me personally, But Absolva plays also acoustic sets.
Yeah, we do a lot. I mean, that was a great time when we're at your town, Comodoro Rivadavia.
Yeah, that's why.
Yeah.
That's my house. That's your closest place in that tour.
Yeah, well, I think when we got asked to do that idea where we played the first night in a small venue, acoustic, and then play the full metal set in the big venue the next day, it kind of scared us a little bit, because when you're on tour, it's usually similar set list, and sometimes you change the songs. And then when you're playing acoustic, your arrangements are sometimes a bit different. And we'd not rehearsed, anything for the acoustic set. We just kind of picked songs that we knew that were good in the acoustic arrangement. And but I remember it coming together very, very well in Argentina. I thought it was great fun, and I definitely remember having a few beers then after the acoustic show.
Yeah, of course. It was a nice tiny venue, but very, very familiar venue.
Yeah, and I think on that tour, if I remember correctly, I think by the time we got to your town, we'd done a lot of traveling, and we were really excited about being in the same town for 2 days. It was really exciting, because some of the shows on that South American tour, we'd finish the gig, we'd do the signing and the meet and greet, then we'd go to the hotel, and so we'd get back to the hotel maybe 2 a.m. And then the tour manager would say, right, okay, guys, we leave for the airport at 4 a.m. So you kind of think, well, is it worth going to sleep? Should we just stay up, have a shower, and then go straight to the airport and get something to eat? 90% of our sleep on that tour was on a plane, And so when we got to your town in Argentina, we're like, we're doing 2 gigs in the same town, and we're in the same hotel for 2 nights.
Yeah,
this is great.
Paradise, man. Yeah, here in South America, the distance are so long between cities, so that's a problem, when you're touring.
Yeah, I mean, I enjoy it because I mean, when you fly into all these concerts, we just travel with 1 bag and 1 guitar, and then all the equipment's there at the show for us. So that also means you don't have to pack away any equipment at the end of the show, So those kind of gigs I like. Whereas, of course, when we tour as headliner in Europe, it's all our own backline, so it's a lot more tiring because you're packing the van, loading the van. We don't usually have, a lot of roadies or crew. We do a lot of it ourselves. And we try not to have big amps, really. We're just trying to keep it small, so you've got more energy for the show and the travel the next day. And well, yeah, if you can book us more shows where we have 2 gigs in the same town in small venues, so we don't have to do a big show, we'll just keep all the capacity small, so then we're in the same hotel for much longer. That'd be great.
To get a good rest. And
It's something we did do actually last year with Blaze, because he loves doing the small gigs. And he said some of the places where we'd started to sell out, the concerts were sold out because it's only like 200 capacity. He said he'd much rather book 2 nights in the same venue of a small capacity than upgrade to the 500, 800 capacity venue. And then he just says, we'll play 2 nights in the same venue, small capacity, change the set list each night. So you do a different show. And that's sometimes the complaints we get from some fans of Iron Maiden and Metallica, is that usually they'll do a tour and the set list and the light show and everything is all very well worked out, but the set list never changes. So you'll get the same show in Manchester as you will in Rio or something, or in Berlin. So I think it's a good idea. You know, I think freshening up the set lists, and the fans go, oh, I wonder which songs they're going to play tonight. And they can't go on the internet and find the set list because the set list is different every night. I think it's a really cool thing.
And I guess for the fans as well, it's a more intimate venue, so they're closer to the stage and they're not standing far away at the back. So it's good for them, it's good for the performers because they get to stay in the one city for more than 24 hours. Yeah, that's a great strategy, I think.
I think it works. I think it's definitely something they used to do in the 70s and early 80s, because we didn't have like big arenas, or, you know, especially in the UK, we didn't really have big places apart from football stadiums. And a lot of the football stadiums, they didn't want all the people standing on the grass and ruining the pitch.
Yeah.
So there's our venue in Manchester. It's mainly 2,500 people, and that was the main place for Black Sabbath, Iron Maiden, AC/DC, all these big bands to play. And I found a Black Sabbath CD, Heaven and Hell, and it had the original UK tour poster inside. And they played Manchester 4 nights in a row, and they played London 6 nights in a row, because it was smaller capacity. They couldn't just do one huge show. So it's kind of flipped back. We're kind of almost going back in time with things, you know. Same with our album releases. We're trying to keep all our albums to 46 minutes maximum, so it can all fit on one vinyl. And as soon as it ticks over 46 minutes, you've gone to 2 pieces of vinyl. And we thought, well, is this why all these legendary albums that we love, like Heaven and Hell, Blizzard of Oz, Ozzy Osbourne, Number of the Beast, is this why these albums are so good? Because they don't last 90 minutes, 2 hours, and you get bored. It's all meant for 2 sides of vinyl. So we thought, well, let's adapt it. Let's write the best songs we possibly can on 2 sides of vinyl. And then we go, right, that's it. You have to make the best out of those 46 minutes.
Right.
Yeah.
It's almost under pressure, man.
Yeah, it's a good problem to have. But you know, you've got to be, you know, bringing your A game all the time. You've got to be doing your best stuff. But it's also good for us, because we might write 15, 20 songs, and then we go, right, let's pick the best 10, 11, 12 songs out of this collection, and then put everything else to one side. We think these are the best songs for this album. So that's the way we're going to do it. I mean, unfortunately, we didn't do that for Sidebyside. So all the other Absolva vinyl albums, would be going on 2 pieces of vinyl. But with the live album, we said, no, let's keep it 46 minutes, one side, the other side. That's it. We've got to do it. And we've got the money to go, let's have it on a nice blue vinyl disc. We can put some more money into the package for the fans, more quality. And I have thought this for some time. There's been some modern albums by some bands, and the tracks, they go 15, 16 songs, and I get bored, you know, and things start to sound the same, you know. And, you know, Heaven and Hell, Black Sabbath, it's 8 songs. It's only 8 songs. And, you know, some of these AC/DC albums that are always in my head, and I know the words and I know the songs inside out. it's only 9 or 10 songs, you know, and there must be a reason why these are still today legendary albums. So it's all connected. I think it's all part of the how to put it to your fans and you know, make yourself legendary.
And then
Right.
it's a very respectful to the crowd, for the fans, you know, because you are in every detail.
Yeah, I think it's the details that really matter. You know, it's not just writing a good song, then you've got your drums, your bass, guitar, and you're singing. It's what are you singing about? You know, you've got to have a subject. You know, it's not just, you know, devil, spandex, dragons, fire. Thank you very much. That's my album. It's, you know, you've got to have some meaning in the lyrics. And when you're playing the guitar, it's like what song, sound, it all has to have a connection. So if you're writing a song, pick an Absolva song, so Never Back Down, it's about a positive message, bringing yourself up. Some people go into depression, they suffer from depression clinically. It's about picking yourself up, sending a positive message. So you've got to kind of imagine how do you want your song to, you know, portray that message with the guitar riffs, with the guitar solos, with the drums and the pace or the speed of the song. You know, it's some songs happen a lot easier than others. You know, it's sometimes you can think about it a bit too much and then, you know, your head goes up your ass. But I think it's all good stuff. I like, you know, the legends. I like Iron Maiden and Black Sabbath and all these bands who have these, you know, I think the masters were always Rush. You know, Rush was a band with very meaningful lyrics. And, you know, you read some of the songs and you think, God, how did they get this into a song? Because it's like been pulled out of some sort of book, you know, that's, you know, science fiction book, very well written lyrics. But it's something that I try and think about a lot, you know.
Have you been writing a lot in the last 9 months? And have any particular themes been like dominant to you in your writing?
Yeah, I mean, we're kind of writing at the moment with a view to a new Absolva album. Not because, you know, of COVID, it's kind of taken the shine out of the Sidebyside album a little bit because we didn't get to do any touring this year. So we're kind of getting prepared for a new album. And it probably doesn't surprise you that it's going to have a slightly darker vibe.
I'm curious.
because of 2020 being the way it is. And there's a lot of subjects. I'm trying to go a little bit more, I'd say, fantasy kind of thing. So a very sort of Richie Blackmore's Rainbow influence, you know, with the first 2 albums. I'm big Lord of the Rings fan. I don't know if you can see all my dragons in the background and everything. So we're kind of going to touch on some of those more fantasy sort of subjects. It's something that we've not really done before. And a lot of the songs are sounding very heavy at the moment. It's probably some of the heaviest songs we've ever done, and with some sort of thrashy elements. And
awesome.
Yeah, it's going to be good. I'm going to try and really look into the lyrics, you know, because when we're writing the songs, I just do like meat and potatoes lyrics, we call it, just to get the melody in. And then once the song is constructed, then I really focus on the words and the lyric content.
And when do you think that will be recorded and released?
Well, your guess is as good as mine. But
next year.
I think, yeah, it'll be next year. And the bonus with the technology is a bit like this now. It's incredible. I can speak to someone from Argentina, Germany, and Australia all at the same time.
Yeah.
And it's a really good thing for the band because at the moment, all the Absolva members are scattered across the UK. We're all in different towns. So, and I think the technology has really been good for the recording because we can send a lot of guitar tracks and drum tracks and ideas just through email. And I can put them into my recording sessions with Pro Tools and Reason. So we can construct an album with not being in the same room. That is a really good thing. I think sometimes you can miss the magic of two people writing a song together, like Lennon and McCartney, looking at each other's eyes and, oh, play that bit again. Oh, go back to that, oh no, this chord here. Okay. So I do like to write with people, but it's good. I think we'll have something really, really special for 2021.
Awesome.
Well,
Yeah, looking forward to hear it.
We are waiting for that.
Well, I hope it's good. Because I've got added pressure from all over the world now. now about this Christmas conversation.
Yes,
Cool.
So we know that we are almost on time because you have another interview. So
yeah. What time is it? Oh yeah, 3:30. Yeah. So should we wrap it up? Do you want any other questions,
guys?
Well, thanks for talking to us, man, and come to Budapest because we have some good beer here as well.
Yeah. So are you in Australia at the moment, or are you living in Budapest?
Yeah, I live in Budapest now.
Right.
But I was lucky enough to experience the lockdown in Melbourne for 4 months, and then I came back to Budapest, and now there's a lockdown in Budapest. So I'm thinking maybe it's me, but yeah, I'm in Budapest. Yeah, but yeah, come to Budapest, man. Good beer.
Yeah. Well, I think I'm booking the Blaze Bayley tour at the moment, and we unfortunately one of our venues in Bratislava in Slovakia is closed down through the pandemic. But I think we always end up having a large crowd of people coming from Hungary. They usually come to Slovakia or Vienna to come and see us, and then they always say, "Why don't you come to Hungary? Why don't you come to Budapest?" And I'm like, "Well, I need to find a concert. If you find me a venue to play, I'll book it." Well, I think that's because we've lost.
Now you have two guys that can get a venue for you.
Yeah, man, we'll put the word out in there when pubs and stuff start opening again, obviously, but yeah.
Yeah, because I think it's perfect routing, because I usually just always do the same routing, and we do whatever in Germany, usually play Munich on the Sunday. Mm-hmm. Then we have 2 days off, and then we used to just do Vienna, Bratislava, and then go up to Czech Republic. But now we don't have Bratislava. We could just hop over to Budapest after Vienna. Yeah. So
yeah, perfect.
Absolutely.
Good idea.
Okay, man. Nice talking to you.
So are you Budapest as well, Michael?
Yes, right.
Yes. Okay.
From Germany, but living here now since 6-7 years roundabout. And
okay. It makes sense now.
Okay.
Well, it's been a long time since I've been to Budapest and Hungary. I remember us having very interesting border thing at Hungary when we came from. Oh shit! Where would we have gone? We'd had a very, very interesting experience with Serbia, and we didn't have this documentation for the vehicle that we were in. And but we were only traveling through Serbia to get to Bulgaria. Mm-hmm. And then we got the documentation, but the Serbian guy took it off us. So when we got to Hungary, it says, "Where's your documents?" I was like, "Well, the guy back there has just taken our documents." It's like,
it's their fault.
God, yeah. But I think the Serbians fucked us. I think they charged us €200 for an armed officer to be in our vehicle to make sure we didn't stop somewhere in Serbia to sell our guitars. And I said, listen, mate, I've got Gibson guitars. Why the fuck would I want to come to Serbia to sell my guitars?
Crazy.
Yeah. Well, yeah, we'd love to come back if you can tell me some venues in Budapest when everything's good. Then it'd be great to come.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
And of course,
Okay.
we keep in contact in South America, Chris. So thank you very much for this talking.
Yeah, if we could get back to Comodoro Rivadavia and you can book us 2 shows.
At least for both.
At least
Blaze
2.
and Absolva.
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, nice.
Awesome.
Awesome. Okay.
Awesome.
Thank you. Talk
Thanks,
soon.
Chris.
Thank you very much, guys. It's been fun.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Happy New Year.
El Dislocador. Yeah? Is that right? Is that correct pronunciation? Yeah. Why are you here? Huh? Why have you come to see us? I am 7,841 miles away from home. I know why I've come to see you. Because Argentina, since my first visit, has been a place in my heart. And every time I have come to your wonderful country, I've always wanted to play more and different places. And so it is wonderful for me to be able to bring my band from England to see you and to play for you. And it is wonderful for us to be here with you for the very first time in this wonderful city. We thank you so much for coming to see us. It is quite a long time since we did an unplugged concert. So if there are a lot of mistakes, please don't put this on YouTube or tell anybody about it. Please drink a lot and forget this concert ever happened. If it goes well, please tell everybody and then come back tomorrow. Okay? All right, let's have a go. Grassy hands. You, what the fuck? Get your hands in the air. Oh. You! What was meant to be is now happening. I found that I like this living in danger. Living on edge, it feels, it makes us feel as one. Who cares now what's right or wrong? It's reality. Killing so we survive. Whenever we may roam, wherever we may hide, we got to get away. I don't want existence to end. We must prepare ourselves for the elements. I just want to feel like we're strong. We don't need a code of morality. I like all the mixed emotion and anger. It brings out the animal of how you can feel. And feeling so high with this much adrenaline. Excited but scary too. Believe what we become. Saints and sinners, something within us. We are Lord of the Flies. Can't take amigo. Saints and sinners, something within us. To be Lord of the Flies. Lord of the Flies. Gracias. Yo. Hey. 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 Saints and sinners, something within us. We are Lord of the Flies. Can't take amigo. Saints and sinners, something within us. To be Lord of the Flies. Yeah. Saints and sinners, something within us. To be Saints and sinners.